I'm Samantha from August Music Productions, and in this video we're going to go into a little bit of music theory. We're going to talk about intervals. Now, what is an interval? Just like you have an interval in a movie where you've got one section of the movie and then you have a gap and then you have the next section of the movie after the interval, it's quite similar in music. So an interval is the gap between two notes. Now, how do you measure this gap or this distance? So I'm going to look at the simplest scale right now, the C major scale. In case you haven't already learned how to play a C major scale, you can always look back to my video on how to play it and understand the nuances and the notes of the scale. So in the C major scale, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then of course a C. So 7 notes plus the higher C. So how are we gonna count it? Now, let's say I want to know the interval between C and D. First, we're gonna look at numbering it. So C is the first note and D is the second. So we can call the interval or the gap or the distance between C and D as the second interval. Moving on, I want to know the interval between C and E. So C is my first note, D is my second note, E is my third note. Therefore, the interval between C and E is the third interval. Okay, C to E is the third interval. Moving on, C to F, C, D, E, F. That makes C to F the fourth interval. Likewise, I'm moving on, C to G. I've got C, D, E, F, G. So C to G would be my fifth interval. C to A, C, D, E, F, G, A. That would be my sixth interval. And I've got my final one. C to B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. I'm moving in the ascending order. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that, but all of this is in the ascending order, all right? So that makes C to B my seventh interval, and my final interval, C to the higher C, is my eighth interval. I'm not going to call it the eighth interval, I'm going to call it an octave. So every set of 8 notes is called an octave, just like you have the octopus with the 8 tentacles and the octagon, the mathematical shape with 8 sides. We have an octave here, which is 8 notes, all right? So now that we've got the intervals numbered, I'm going to move into how to name the intervals of the major scale, okay? So I'm just going to go over it. C, D. This, remember, from C to D we discussed that, and we arrived at the second interval. So C, D, I'm going to call this a major second. C, this is a major third. C, F. Now I'm not going to call this a major fourth. I'm going to call it a perfect fourth, and I'll tell you why in a bit. C, G, perfect fifth. C, A, major sixth. C, B, major seventh. And C, C, major eighth. Just so that we can incorporate the sound a little bit, let's just do it as a small warm-up, okay? So, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. Let's do it one more time. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. All right? Great. Okay. So I was telling you why the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth are called that way. Now, for this, you need to know some scales. So I hope y'all are working on your scales regularly, whether it is working on playing the scales by ear, because you already know that the major scale sounds like la 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 la. So no matter what note I start on, la 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 la. So if you are one of those musicians who are able to play a scale by ear, go ahead and play it by ear. But if you find it easier to use the major scale pattern, like I had mentioned in an earlier video, please go ahead and use the major scale pattern, but make it a point to learn all your major scales, to work on at least 2 major scales on a weekly basis, and to sing along with it, whether you're a singer or not, to sort of incorporate that sound into you and get used to the sound. All right, so if you know your scales, you will understand very well what I'm about to explain. So C to D, I call the major second because, and not a perfect second, because D appears in the scale of C, so in the major scale of C. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? So in C major has the D, but D major does not have the C, all right? So if I'm playing the scale of D major, it is D, F sharp, G, B, C sharp, D. It has a C sharp, it doesn't have a C, all right? So likewise with all the other intervals that we named as major, the top note features in the key of the bottom note, but not the other way around. I'm going to take one more example. I'm going to take C and E, all right? So E appears in C major scale, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but not the other way around. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, A. E major doesn't have a C. E major has a C sharp, all right? Now, in the case of our perfect intervals in C major scale, that is C to F and C to G, what about that? So F appears in the scale of C major for sure. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Does C appear in the key of F major? F, G, A, B, flat, C. Yes, it does. D, F. Sorry, I had to finish that off. Yes, so the top note appears in the major key of the bottom note, and the bottom note appears in the key of the top note. Therefore, the interval is called a perfect interval. All right, let's try for G as well. Yes, G definitely is in the key of C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, is C in the key of G major? G, A, B, C, D, F, G. Oh, sorry. F sharp, G. Sorry, played the wrong note in G major scale. Anyway, so it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, all right? So C definitely appears in the key of G major as well. So that is why these 2 intervals are called the perfect intervals and the other intervals are called the major intervals. That's it for today's lesson, and I just wanted to say that it is important to know the sound of the intervals because all melodies are sung in intervals, and it just helps you not only to be able to sing better by ear, play better by ear, but also create more beautiful melodies and maybe choose something that is not a very common choice, you know, like when you're starting the creation of a melody. So this happens in Don't Know Why by Norah Jones. I waited till I saw the sun, right? Or how about this? I Have a Dream by ABBA. I have a dream, right? As opposed to just doing like a simple happy birthday, right? So it'll just help you understand different ways to sort of create melody, and it will also help you recognize things when you listen to melodies that are a little bit more sophisticated. Keep at it. Until next time, happy singing.